It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game here on this Monday. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your day. It is bitterly cold, but we're going to warm things up and make you laugh a little bit. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Got the full crew back there. What's up, JoJo? Turn that mic on.
Turn
There you
that
go.
mic on there. Hey, man. Oh, it's bitterly cold, but it's beautiful outside. That's all that matters. The sun's shining. And also, if you're a history buff, and I don't care what side of the political aisle you fall on, today is inauguration day is a beautiful day for our democracy. Or our republic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful day of how this all works. And I really don't care who you voted for, but inauguration day is really cool. I'm watching all the preparation going on, all that happens, and I don't know, it's just kind of a fun thing. And if you get a chance, watch it. I mean, it's history, so very rarely do you see history happening. So watch it. Turn that mic on, buddy.
I did.
What happened?
Did you touch it? No, I'm just kidding. I agree with you. Don't ever bring it up again because we're a sports station.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. Yes. No, I agree. It is obviously history and something to watch. Got a national championship game tonight. It's Martin Luther King Day. It's just a loaded day.
It is. It's a national championship game that very few people are talking about.
Yeah, I know. I feel
odd.
like in general, it's just kind of like, meh, because we had such a fun weekend of football with the NFL and the playoffs. And I kind of want to start on that because I got a text over the weekend from our buddy Ryan Porth that is now in Chicago. He said this Washington Commanders team kind of reminds me of the 2019 Titans. Different with the quarterback, but because they were not predicted to do a whole lot, they go into Detroit, beat the number one seed, just like the Titans did against the Titans weren't even picked to beat the Patriots. They go beat the Patriots. Washington goes in and who'd they beat the first week? The Bucks.
Yeah.
And then they, that was considered an upset, and then they go and they upset the Lions. I don't know. I kind of see it. I mean, I think, I think we try to compare things too much, and they're, but
that's a great point. I mean, the 85 Patriots, the 80 Rams. These are teams that all went on the road and got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then I think it was the 05 Steelers. I might be wrong. Correct me, audience. That was the first team to go on the road as a wild card and win the Super Bowl. But I know like the 85 Patriots did it. The 80 Rams did it. I'm sorry, the 79 Rams did it. And to get there. So, yeah, I think, what is it? Thief is a comparison of joy.
Yeah.
So I think Washington's just doing their own thing. The Titans in 19 did their own thing. Nobody expected them. I thought they'd beat New England. I didn't think they'd beat Baltimore, and they did.
Yeah, for sure. And, speaking of the Titans, Mike Borgonzi, they got their guy. It broke late Friday that they were going to hire the assistant GM of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was going to be the new general manager. Have not seen anything on a press conference yet. My guess is tomorrow is when they'll do all that.
So the Titans' best beat reporter, Adam Schefter, it was odd with him because he put it out. People are like, it's a done deal.
They're trying to hire him, yeah.
Then he felt like he had to come out with, they're still talking. And then like an hour and a half later, it was like, it's a done deal.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But they got it done. 5-year deal is what it, ends up being. We'll see if he gets that 5 years. But I'm going to say this because a lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, this is the guy I wanted. I'm so excited. He's coming in. Yeah, the Titans are about to be like the Chiefs. It's going to be great. You didn't know what this guy did with Kansas City. I texted, look, I knew, I immediately was like, okay, I know one person that would know about this guy. I texted Pat Sperduto and I said, hey, Pat, let me know what tell me about this guy. And he was like, he loves to win. He's a great guy, easy to work with. You guys will love him. Like, good stuff. Okay, great. I mean, like that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, I'm glad he's gone.
Not to be a jerk. What'd you think he'd say?
Well, right. That's my point.
Like, and this guy is awful. He smells.
No, and I mean, he had more detail of like what he, how he looks at talent and stuff like that. Because, Pat's worked for the Chiefs as a scout for a long time. And so that was somebody I obviously wanted to hear from. But at the end of the day, this ain't the Chiefs. And, what you kind of have to realize is, what did he do? Because we kind of fell for this before, with everybody. I mean, Robinson was with the Patriots. So everybody's like, oh, okay, here we go. Wait. And he did a pretty good job. A lot of you have forgotten that and want to blame everything on him, and that's fine. You can do that, but you're wrong. And then we heard all this stuff about Carthon of like, oh, he helped find Brock Purdy and Elijah Mitchell and all these guys with the 49ers, and that lasted 2 years. So my point is, I'm not trying to be negative. Like, I do like the hire in theory, but I don't know what Mike Borgonzi is like without Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes. So let's see what he's like with Chad Brinker and Brian Callahan and whoever they get to play quarterback for them moving forward. So I am at the point now where I'm not going to get excited. I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm going to temper expectations, and now I'm just going to let it play out. I've said my piece about this entire process and, the organization to this point. Now they have their guy. So let's see.
I want to go to the press conference. I want to see how the Titans do this press conference.
We need to go to the press conference.
Because are you going to have any questions? You're going to have Brinker and this Bargatze guy on? I mean, are you going to have them? Are you going to do that? Are you going to have them on the podium? You're not going to take – I want to know. Because I'm telling you, if you got Brinker and Borgatze or Garbanzo, what? How do you say his name?
Borgonzi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a Paisan, right?
Borgonzi.
He's a Paisan.
Oh, man. All the questions will be to Brinker. Or the one question you ask Borgonzi is like, what have they told you about your role?
Here's what I want to do. I want to take Dr. Crane to the press conference. Dr. Crane, we will buy your lunch if you at some point ask him like his favorite, Italian dish. Just completely go off the rails and just be like, so do you like pesto or, you're a marinara guy? Like I want that to happen.
I would actually ask him, do you put cheese on your seafood? And if he says yes, the Titans are in trouble because you do not do that.
Okay. That's good. That's
wow.
Good information.
Okay.
Why I want to do this? Because it's going to piss off guys like Kaharski so much that it's going to be funny.
I love it. And you got to dress like a gangster, like Al Capone.
I love Kaharski, but it will piss him off if you
And you got to go hard with the accent.
I do have a pinky ring.
You got to go hard with the accent. So this is your day to shine, man.
That would be awesome
for all that. So we're looking forward to that.
But look, that's going to be a lot of our show today. Brett Kern's going to join at 10. I encourage people to be excited. That's fine. Like if you like this, because I think according to all the experts out there, he was probably the best GM candidate on the market,
Chief Scout.
And I think it was, kind of a foregone conclusion that it was going to be John Eric Sullivan from Green Bay, that there's going to be some Green Bay connection, but they end up going with a guy from the Chiefs. And so I am excited about that, but now it's like, okay, it's a clean slate. This guy hadn't done anything.
So is he done with the Chiefs?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Is he going to ride out through the Super Bowl? I mean, how does this? I'm curious to see what goes on. I know
he'll be done next week because I think the Bills are going to beat him. But
Senior Bowl's next week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you want him here.
Yeah.
It's no, it's not next week. It's the Pro Bowl week. So it's in between
it's next week.
No, next week is the championship.
Next week, not this week. Next week.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Am I right?
Technicality.
Right?
You're right.
Off
technicality.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. So you want him in place, right? I mean, that's
don't ever question me.
You want him in place to go down there because last year the thing was like it didn't matter. I can watch him on tape.
Oh, yeah, no.
You got boots on the ground, man.
Yeah. So I would think that what'll happen is, he'll come here this week for all the intros, and please, for the love of God, don't get everybody in the, to come out and clap for him when he walks in. Let's not do that again. But, or if you do, don't put it on video. But
awful.
But, so he'll come in for all that stuff. He probably goes back to Kansas City for the championship game on Sunday, depending on what happens there. he's probably going to be back and forth. I mean, if Kansas City goes to the Super Bowl, he's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, you just have the thing like, look, I'll go to the Senior Bowl, but I'm going to ride it out here because I mean, his job's done, right, with the Chiefs, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you go, but I think you need to go to the Senior Bowl, and then he's got to get his scouting staff right. Would he not have his own scouts that come in and do this? I would, guys that you trust, but I don't know. Do you have to get permission from a team to say, look, I want to hire this guy, that guy? Because don't it have to be an upward move? It can't be a lateral move. Don't they block those things that go on? So, look, man, now you got it. Move on, and you got your GM in words or whatever, and then you got Brinker, and then now we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you now. Go out and talk to us.
Yeah, he will. I think he will.
I hope so.
I think that they haven't announced anything yet, but my guess is a press conference tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, depending on his schedule. But and my guess, the players in that would be Brinker and Borgonzi, and maybe Amy gets up and makes a statement. She did that at Rand, so my guess is she'll make a statement and not take any questions.
Have they ever formally introduced Brinker?
That's a really good question. I think they did when he was assistant GM. I don't think they did like a reintroducing when he got this new title, but yeah, I think because it was him and Anthony Robinson and like there was this whole group that they brought in. I think they did, but I could be wrong.
And then Robinson's gone and Brinker's last man standing. It's like UFC.
Basically,
came in, and so what happened? And that's that. And Brinker runs with it now. But I think Amy needs to be there. I think you need to show a sign of solidarity.
I mean, look, she's been there for things like this before. I mean, that's been the thing. Like, she'll get up and give a statement, but then she doesn't take any questions. So I guess, and maybe Nihill will be up there too, even though I don't really know what. I mean, he's the business side. I'd rather hear from Brinker at this point.
Sure, yeah.
What is, to your point that you made earlier, what is going to be interesting is when they do have a press conference, if it's both of them, half of it is going to be people asking Chad about all the stuff that's led up to this point.
It should, yeah.
Which he's going to try and deflect and be like, well, this is about Mike. Like, no, you guys choose not to speak. So whenever you do speak, you're going to be asked about this stuff. So get over it.
Bombard them with just come out and talk. That's the thing. If you'd come out and talk about it, it would be a non-issue now.
You know what would be hilarious? This will never happen, but I made this joke over the weekend and I figured I'd just make it on the air.
Do it.
If all of the Nashville media just like got together and said, okay, we're going to do this and not show up.
That would be,
but there would be
beautiful.
Two people, and you probably can guess who they are, that would screw it up and show up.
Yeah, right.
Because they just are,
you walk.
You don't till I die.
You walk in with just Jim Wyatt asking.
well, right, he would have to because he worked for the team.
Right,
but like there'd be a couple others.
I'm sure.
But it would be hilarious if everybody, like the TV stations and the radio, us and Koharski, if they were just like
zero,
we're not gonna go.
Can you imagine walking out and not a single media member being there? That would be fantastic, but you're right. Nobody would ever do that.
But look, I am now, like I joke, but I am now. I'm like, okay, I don't agree with a lot of things you've done. You've dropped the ball on a lot of these things, but I'm willing to put all that aside now. You have your guy. Now you're going to lay the plan out for us. And I may be skeptical of the plan, but I'm going to see it through now.
You watched a lot of football this weekend.
I did.
Titans ain't anywhere near those teams.
Oh, no.
Not even close.
No, and I want to make a point on that because this is a discussion that Jared and I had in the suite at the Preds game the other night.
Oh, God.
And I want to get your thoughts on it. You can also react. Mike Borgonzi, the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. What does that mean moving forward? 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com here on this Monday. Jason Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game. Jason Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Monday. Very nice. Dr. Crane spinning the tunes this morning. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. So my question is, when you watched, you watched all the games this weekend, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're watching the Washington Commanders Saturday night against Detroit.
Right.
Did you not for a second think, all right, that just shows you how important the quarterback and getting the quarterback right is when you're watching Washington? Because if you think about it, a lot of that team was basically there last year. Two big things have changed. Now I know that there's a couple pieces that have changed. Two big things changed for them. They got the coach in Dan Quinn, and they got the quarterback in Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And so I said to Jared, I was like, man, watching this kind of makes me think that the Titans need to take the quarterback. And then he said something that I also agreed with that was pretty spot on. He goes, neither of those guys are Jaden Daniels. And I kind of feel that way. Like, I don't think Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward at this point in time are Jaden Daniels. Now, chances are one of them's going to go to the combine and, the underwear Olympics and blow everybody away. And, somebody's going to fall in love. And look, it could be they get to the NFL and get, proper coaching and something changes with them. But I don't see it right now. That's the thing. So that's where I would, and, time will tell in year number 2 with Brian Callahan. He's not Dan Quinn.
No, God, no. You just
like Dan Quinn's a hell of a coach.
So you look at this, the Titans have no chance. They don't have a head coach who's comparable to Dan Quinn. They don't have a quarterback, and it's a crapshoot to get a quarterback. They've drafted terrible. So what do?
It's still like what I still stand by is I'm shopping the number 1 pick and finding a team that does fall in love with one of those quarterbacks, and I'm getting more picks, and then I'll just go get a bridge guy.
I think the key is the Cowboys. I really think that is the key. If Deion gets it, he wants number 1 pick.
I think they're going to hire Kellen Moore at this point.
I don't know. Deion's making the rounds.
I know.
So
Eddie's making the rounds apparently.
But with Deion, I just think until Kellen Moore's hired, I mean, I'm going to hold out hope that Deion gets that job. And if you do, you start talking to me. What do you got? What are we going to do? And then you actively look to shop Jeffrey Simmons. Look, I told you, I was going through the list of looking at the teams 4 teams are left. A massive majority of their team, they drafted. Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, they drafted, and the Commanders, they drafted these guys. So you got to draft well. Yeah, you can plug and play a free agent here and there, but drafting is so crucial to a football team. The Titans have been terrible at that. So if you can gobble up draft choices, you don't have a third rounder. If you can get 10 picks in this year's draft, at least 10 guys you plug in that you scouted, that you believe in, that you love, you start rebuilding this thing. Butch Jones, brick by brick. But that's how you do it, man. You can't. What happened last year? They went out and they got Ridley and the Tyler Boyd, signing all these free and did nothing. These guys got paid. They don't care. They don't give a damn. These young guys are looking for that. You want guys who are looking for that second contract. I'm gonna do whatever. That's what Belichick did in New England. He did it so well. You come after that second contract, very rarely those guys get it. He just plugged more guys in there because you knew the payoff was going to be down the road. So this Titans team's got a long way to go. And they thought they were the Patriots for a little bit when they hired Robinson and all those guys. But you got to start ground 1, man. And it's this draft in 2025.
Yeah, and that's why I'm with you. We agree on more picks. Just get as many picks as you possibly can and, see where it goes from there. 615-737-1025. A lot of people weighing in on the the matchups for championship weekend, but I am curious if people are like me and kind of just cautiously optimistic when it comes to Mike Borgonzi, the new Titans GM, and do you think we'll get more clarity on exactly what this power structure looks like, or are they going to give us the same BS they've been giving us?
You just answered your own question.
Yeah.
They're going to do the same thing you've always gotten. That's it. They're going to do things their own way, and it hasn't been working for a while now. And so you'll see what happens. But I just want to know who gets the final call. I mean, why did you leave the Chiefs if you're not going to be making the final call as a general manager?
Well,
General manager makes the final call. Why'd you take the job?
You know the answer to that question. I mean, look, all kidding aside, you know the answer to that question.
I actually don't.
They have been very. That's the one thing they've been clear on, and the results of the team would show you that this is true. Amy Adams Strunk has the final say.
Well, all owner should have the final
Right,
say.
but it's more clear that it's her. I mean, they can give you this lip service that Chad Brinker is going to break ties and all that stuff.
He's the vice president.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Amy ultimately, if Amy doesn't like something, she's going to step in and go, no.
So then why have a GM?
I don't know. I mean, but look, you've seen this before.
Right.
You have seen that. People don't put this together, but you've seen this movie before. And it was a simple statement that John McClane actually came up with. VY is my guy. At the end of the day, that's who made that call. And it wasn't Jeff Fisher. It wasn't Floyd Reese. It was Bud Adams. And now you're seeing that with Amy Adams Strunk. She hasn't had the catchphrase yet, but VY is my guy was the same thing.
So owner meddling, we get all that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just, we got to hear from him, and then you go forward, and then, April will be here soon enough for the draft and what happened, free agency in March. I don't think there'll be big spenders in that. I think there's one guy they'll go after. One guy.
Who?
Trey Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they go after him and they throw the world at him.
And I do agree with that strategy because you've seen teams, throw a bunch of money at free agency. I mean, the Titans did it last year. They spent a lot of money, and it doesn't work because you got to go get the right guys. So I agree that the focus needs to be more on building through the draft, which is what Chad Brinker had said he's going to do. And I don't hate that strategy. It's just, can they do it right? Do I believe that they can evaluate and get the right talent in here? My skepticism says no, but at the end of the day, I want to give them a chance and see if they actually can do it. That's how they need to do it. But I do agree with you that if they throw some, money at Trey Smith, because I think he's the best guard available, via free agency, if they do that, I won't hate that move.
Okay. I got a question for you when we come back. It's something that's been happening for 5 or 6 years, and the best minds that have ever coached the game of football cannot figure this out, and it's driving me crazy. I don't think anybody could figure this out, and I want to ask you your opinion about this, what's happened in the last 5 or 6 years of why the best minds in football can't figure this out.
Okay, we'll do that coming up next. Mark will also get to your calls. It's the Chasing Big Joe Show, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game here on this national championship Martin Luther King Inauguration Day. I should have put Dr. King first for sure. The Game Nashville Sports Network is your home for the college football playoff presented by Twin Peaks and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Tonight, tune in to 1025, 1063 The Game for college football national championship as Ohio State takes on Notre Dame. We'll join it just after 7 o'clock with once the Commodore Hour is done, but I believe kickoff is after 7. So we'll join it then in there right here on 1025, 1063 The Game. All right, you have a question or what?
So I love football, been following my
know.
entire life, and deep diving, analyzing things,
especially football played before 1990.
You're exactly right. Give me the 90s. I was doing fantasy football, so I remember a lot of those players. Here's my thing, and it's just this drives me insane, and it's so simple yet so just confusing. Why can no one stop Travis Kelce? Did you watch Saturday? Why do they leave him open? Why do you single coverage him? I don't understand. Are you trying to be cool? Were the Texans trying to be cool? Because he made Al Shazam look terrible. He made the DBs. He made the DBs look terrible. Why do defensive coordinators do this? I would look. That is Patrick Mahomes' safety valve. When he's covered, Mahomes is kind of pedestrian a little bit. I mean, he ad-libs, he can find a receiver here and there, but why can't they cover him? Look at his stats from Saturday. It was amazing how he got open every time. When Mahomes had that great play, he was getting sacked and going down and through to Cal. How was he open? Please, somebody text us, call us. I've talked to football people about that, and there's the same thing. We don't understand how he's open every time.
I mean, look, great players just find a way. And this has been a down year for him. I mean, that's what's crazy is like you look at the year as a whole, it was a down year. But I heard somebody, I think it was Mahomes that said it, like great players in the playoffs, become great. Like or show you why they're great.
Yes.
And he did that yesterday. I don't know, or Saturday. It's pretty amazing.
It
just
is
what he's been able to do in his career. I mean, he is, I guess if you're really saying of all time,
he's top 5 all time.
He's top 5. I mean, he's made a case. Tony Gonzalez is probably
John Mackey, pretty damn good. They named the tight end award after him.
Yeah.
But Gonzalez, Mackey, Gronk.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, Gonzalez is, I guess, number 1 now. But
yeah.
And the tight end position has changed. Like,
it has.
I mean, you can look at Ditka and say he was probably the best of what it used to be, and then
they had Gonzalez, a DB on him when he lined up out in the slot. They had a DB on him.
Yeah,
and he beat the DB.
Yeah,
guy that's faster than you are, and I just don't get it. I don't think I've ever seen this in football. Can you recall this?
Of a guy you just can't stop.
You might laugh at this, but what comes to mind when I think about not covering him? When Wycheck was back in his day with McNair, he was always open. He was always open.
Well, because that was really when you started to see that position change and become more. And Frank still is considered more of a traditional tight end, but you look at his receiving yards and catches and everything. I would say they dispute that a little bit. So yeah, I don't think that's crazy. Jerry Rice is the first one that comes to mind. That he was just, you couldn't cover him.
But you get that. That's Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
But Kelce, I mean, he's not fast. He just gets to the spot and makes a catch. I'm telling you, I watched that in the stats. He had 7 catches, 117 yards, 49-yard long run. After that, they only 3 other guys caught passes. Xavier Worthy, Noah Gray, and Kareem Hunt, 5-3-1. I mean, he's getting the ball. Until you can stop him, they're going to keep winning. I think he hangs it up after this year. I think if they go to the Super Bowl and get it, he's done.
No, I do too.
Because you've got 4 Super Bowls, you got 3 in a row. You go out on top. You go the John Elway, you're on top. I'm telling you, Chase, man, and I love football. I just sit there and I talk to a few coaches like, Yeah, well, you could, zone him and do this. That. No, you can't. They've tried that.
If they win, if they three-peat, does he propose on the field? I could see it. I could totally see it.
Yeah, I mean, he likes the limelight.
Oh yeah. I could see it. 100%.
That's a good point. I mean, you have to.
He takes the trophy from Bradshaw or whatever and
brings her up on stage.
Brings her up on stage and gets down on one knee.
I mean, people would lose their mind.
Puts one of his rings, one of his Super Bowl rings.
Then we do a whole show about prenups.
Yeah,
like Taylor does,
because he's the one sided,
right? Like, he'd present his prenup to her.
Yeah,
like, it'd be like, all right, you don't get my Playboy collection if we break up. All that goes on. We could do a whole show on prenups, but I mean, he's earned his spot. I mean, he had a okay year, but
yeah,
I mean, he was remarkable.
To his standards, it wasn't great.
No,
by any means.
I don't know. And it bugs me because you always find defenses like, he's like a Michael Jordan. They would try everything on Michael Jordan. It wouldn't work. And finally, it was like, all right, Michael Jordan's going to get his 40, but you're not getting your 5 or you're not getting your 8. They stopped everybody else.
You know who the luckiest man in America is right now?
It's a great question.
DeAndre Hopkins. Because he goes from this, bleep show
right
that he had here.
What
and
did he do?
Would you like his stat line from this weekend?
Please read it to me.
0 catches for 0 yards.
But he had 1 target.
I think he was targeted once. I like the one on Charlotte Pike, but
that's is that one nice?
Yeah, it's nice. Nashville West.
We had people at Channel 4 run into Taylor Swift at the White Bridge.
Yeah, she does like to go to that one. Would you like a stat line against the Steelers on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
2 catches for 7 yards. Before that, against the Texans, 4 catches for 37 yards. December 15th against the Browns, 5 catches for 36 yards. The last time he had anything over 40 yards was November 29th against the Raiders, 4 catches, 90 yards.
Does he have a touchdown anywhere? I know he had a touchdown on Monday night.
He had a touchdown against the Chargers on December 8th. And then I think he's only had like 2 touchdowns.
Who was the other game?
Here's his stat line with the Chiefs. 41 catches, 437 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's not terrible, because he spent half a season. And then before that with the Titans this year, 15 for 173 and 1 touchdown.
And now he's on the precipice of going to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if Kansas City, Philadelphia, Hopkins, A.J. Brown,
oh yeah,
show up there?
So here's my question for the people, and we'll get to Mark's call right now in just a second. But my question for the next segment is, what matchup do you want? What Super Bowl matchup do you want? Do you want to see Kansas City, Philly too? Because I think there's some intrigue there. Or do you want a different combination? I'm curious.
Do you think, before we get to this, a Houston Eagles Super Bowl would have been, NFL's like, no, we don't want that. Or a Houston Rams, we don't want that.
No.
So I think the NFL's like, glad Houston's out now. Now they're 4 marks.
I think there's one wrinkle in it now, and I think it's Washington. But I mean, the AFC Championship game is exactly what they wanted. I mean, they wanted Kansas City, Buffalo.
Dude, he's playing in his 7th straight AFC Championship game.
It's unreal.
It really is.
He's been in the league 8 years. In that first year, he didn't start.
7th one. I mean, it is. You talk about being lucky, better than good.
So the first one they lost to Brady and the Patriots.
Correct.
The second one,
Titans.
They beat the Titans. The third one,
was it the 13-second game with the Bills?
Maybe.
Where they went back and forth in the last minute and all the rules put in for overtime because Josh Allen and them were up, and then they lost. That was a Super Bowl they lost to the Bucs. Correct.
Right? Yeah. Right. Like
21 they lost.
Did he ever beat Brady? I don't think he ever beat Brady.
I think you're correct. 21 was Burrow.
Yeah. They won that. 22. Or no, they lost that.
They lost that.
Yeah, they lost that.
Yep.
And then 22, they won that. That was
Is it the Bengals or the Bills? One of those two.
yeah.
22 they lost to the Bengals, and in 23 they beat the Bengals.
Well, you go back.
Okay,
21
yeah.
season.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, but okay. So yeah, that's right. They lost to the Bengals and they beat the Bengals, and then who they beat last year?
The Ravens.
Ravens
That's
on the
right.
road. What was the game where the Bengals players shoved the Chiefs guy out of bounds on the last drive, and it was a late hit, and Kansas City got 15 more yards? Was that an AFC championship game or a playoff game?
I believe that was the championship game
In
because
22.
they ended up winning 23-20 that game.
That's right, because they kicked the field goal. Okay. So, I mean, and that's another thing. Real quick, get the phone call. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Mark has been waiting very patiently. Hello, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Chase? What's up, Big Joe?
What's up, Mark? Man?
Hey, Chase, you and Big Joe were talking about the GM. I hope they thoroughly question this guy when they introduce him at the press conference, and he owes it. Him and Brinker both owe it fans to lay the plan out about what they're going to get this team better, how they're going to go about doing it. I know Brinker's supposed to be the analytics guy and all this and that, but they owe it to the fans of Nashville to tell them what the plan is going forward, because this team is in such disarray. I was looking at the game Saturday. I tell you, somebody, y'all may disagree with me on this. They could use a D'Amico Autry again. That man was unblockable in that game Saturday against Kansas City. They could use him again. You know, they've gotten rid of a lot of great players, like say A.J. Brown and those guys. I don't know, man. It's just really a sad situation with that team, especially going into this new stadium. But Big Joe, you were talking about earlier about the coaching with Callahan and stuff. I believe he is going to be a lame duck coach coming into this season. Y'all may not agree with that, but you know, a guy that I look at now around the league, Big Joe, that they should have probably took a real good look at, and he's not really getting a lot of attention like I think he should. They should have looked at Joe Brady, man. I mean, this guy has called plays. He's been an OC at LSU, Carolina. And look at what he's done with Josh Allen up there at Buffalo, man. I think he probably could have came in and did a better job than what Callahan's doing. I think Callahan's just in a tough situation. Maybe one day he'll be a good coach. I mean, who knows? But he's just in a bad situation. And I would take those draft picks, like Chase said, and I would trade down and get multiple picks for this year and next year, and just minimize what you do in free agency.
Yes.
And like Big Joe said, just build from the draft. That's the only way you're going to get better. You only go get free agents when you know you're going to get to a point where this is going to put us over the top.
Yeah.
That's when you go get some free agents and stuff. But other than that, you got to build from the draft. And they're a long ways off. I mean, Burks, what are you going to do with him this season? You going to cut him? You going to keep him? I mean, they need playmakers. I mean, they need guys across the line on both sides of the ball. You should be building inside and out instead of outside in like Rand did. That wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work. And two, I said this the other day to Adam. I would go out here and get me 10, 11, 12 free agent offensive linemen, bring them all in camp, let them try out for that offensive line, because they have got to get that together more than anything, period, on that roster. Maybe a couple of guys out of that crew that you could bring in, maybe you'd have you some pretty good offensive linemen and stuff out of that.
Good
But
point.
they're going to have to do something.
Good point.
Yeah, they're
brother.
going to have to do something. But hey, y'all, I just wanted to say that. Y'all have a good day and stuff.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. Thanks for weighing in.
All right, see you later.
See ya.
12 free agents come in. Who came up with that nonsense? You're paying me. I'm not coming to work out for you.
Yeah. I
Give me a
mean, but no,
contract.
I know what he's saying though.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, I mean,
Like a
I feel like
combine.
offensive line, like go out and find one of these big country strong, like just big old behemoths that probably has never played a lick of football in his life, but that you could show what to do enough.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
go find somebody like that. Like you see that, you block that.
Yeah.
You see the guy in front of you, don't let him, or behind you, don't let him get hit.
Until you get a Lawrence Taylor line up in front of you, like, what was that just flew past me?
Well, like Jared Verse yesterday for LA. Like I watched him, and I mean he was getting to Hurts. And I was just like, that's a guy the Titans need. Like they need a guy like that can just, have a beat on the quarterback and get to him.
Now that we look back real quick, would you have taken Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
100%.
Let's take guys that we should take instead of guys.
I mean, I don't dislike Latham. Like I don't think Latham's a bad pick.
Right.
Like I want to see him now that he's got a season under his belt. By the way, he was at the Vandy Tennessee game on Saturday. They showed him. That was cool. I want to see him now that he's a little more conditioned for the NFL, goes through a full off season.
Yeah. All right.
Show me that again. I don't think he was a bad pick, but yeah, I think Brock Bowers could have made a big difference. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll get to more of your calls and texts on the Titans and much more. It was a busy sports weekend in Nashville here at 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tomorrow is your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the Preds game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Predators home game. Participate with Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow morning at 8:45. Chasing Big Joe on this Monday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hi, JoJo.
What's up, man?
I get fascinated. You know, you brought this up earlier. It doesn't matter, you know, whatever side of the aisle you're on, but I'm fascinated with Inauguration Day, like watching the pomp and circumstance and everybody walking in, and you know, Biden and Trump walked in together. It's like, I'd love to know what they're saying to each other.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it just shows, you know, America at its finest. And again, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care, but the process is just mesmerizing to me.
So I'm gonna make this analogy because you just gave it to me, and this is perfect. It doesn't matter who you voted for. Now it's time to move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Same
with the Titans. It's just it's time. Like, as much as you know, have been in displeasure about, you know, the decisions they made or things Amy's done or whatever. Now you kind of have and Mark brought it up of like, they owe it to us to tell us the plan, the plan. They're going to tell us a plan. They will get up there and they will say, this is the plan moving forward. Whether that's really the plan, I don't know. But it's just like politics. It's like they're going to tell you what you want to hear to make you feel better, and then you move forward. But now it's time, and I agree with this, that let's put skepticism and negativity aside, and let's see where this thing goes.
And it's not us against them.
No.
That's why we've been so just adamant about talk to us. Talk to us. Let's all get on the same team here and see what you're doing. Yeah, we're going to criticize here and there. That's what Sports Talk Radio does. We have our opinions. Let's put it that way. But let us know what you're doing. Like, okay, they're doing that. Okay, I get it. I'm not on board with that, but I see where they're going. I understand all that. And it's that simple what you could do. That's why we always say, just talk to us. Pull back the curtain. You don't have to open the entire door. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Here's where we're going. Here's what we're going to do. I'm telling you, PR people, you know this. Get out ahead of the story so that you can control the narrative. Titans are awful, absolutely awful at doing this and have been the entire time. I don't blame their PR staff. They're just being told what to do. It comes from above. So put us all on the same page, and we'll be fine. Real quick, before we go to the break, I want to bring this up because we're talking about Travis Kelce. This Patrick Mahomes thing that's going on with the referees. Look, if you drop the ball, he dropped the ball. Then he became a runner, right?
Yeah.
And then he got blasted. And even Troy Aikman on TV said, oh, come on. When they called a flag on the hit on Mahomes, he dropped the ball. He became a runner. There needs to be very clear and defined rules going forward about what happens.
Yeah.
He got blasted.
How's Mark Andrews feeling today?
Awful.
That was bad, man. That was really bad. And look, good on Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar was pissed at the end. Like, we got to hang on to the ball. And I love that. Like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was
Lamar said that?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lamar. How about let's not throw interceptions?
Well,
how about you not fumble?
Well, sure. But, I mean, you know, he's not wrong.
Mark Andrews is a hell of a tight end.
He took responsibility for his part too. But it was interesting yesterday watching both games, just because I think they were close, a lot closer than maybe people thought, except for, you know, Bills, Ravens.
Right.
But ultimately the better teams won.
You're right. No, I'm looking at you got Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, RFK Jr.
I saw Dana White.
Right. I mean, this is must watch. Well, listen to us and turn the sound down.
Was this the Oscars or the inauguration?
I'm not there. I'm fascinated by RFK Jr. Not because of his politics. I mean, he's the oldest grandchildren of the Kennedy. I mean, of the Kennedy. He's the oldest. Yeah. And his family completely disowned him. All of them. He's like, I don't care. I know what I believe in and going forward.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting. Coming up next, we'll talk to Brett Kern, former Titans punter. We'll get his thoughts on the new Titans general manager, Mike Borgonzi, as he'll be sworn in at some point. We look forward to that. You're welcome. Look forward to that. We'll do that coming up next. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Monday. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Titans have their man, Mike Borgonzi, the new general manager of the Tennessee Titans. We'll let you know whenever a press conference will take place. But we say hello now to former Titans punter Brett Kern, who's on the line with us. Brett, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We are fantastic. Just kind of reacting to the news that came out Friday afternoon. Mike Borgonzi, I don't know if you've talked to people. Obviously, you've known some folks that have been in Kansas City, but they get the former assistant GM of the Chiefs, and now he's coming to the Titans. What that power structure looks like, we have no idea. I don't know if we'll ever know, but he seems like, and people I've talked to, this seems like a really good hire and a guy that knows football.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that he started with the Chiefs in 2009, right? And he started pretty much at the bottom as just like, a scout, right? Watching a ton of tape, evaluating players. And then obviously he's worked his way up, to being an assistant general manager. He's been a part of a lot of huge draft classes. I think you look at the common thing between this Chiefs-Bills game coming up is there's a lot of homegrown players, right? The Chiefs have a ton of guys that were draft picks that are starting, that are important roles of starting. And you look at the Bills too, right? 4 guys they got from free agency of your 22 starters. And I think 9 to 10 of those guys are on their second contract with the Bills. So Mike comes from a system where obviously they've drafted well. Every draft's not going to be a home run, right? We get that. But obviously to have a high percentage of your guys that you're drafting are now contributing starters is huge. So I think he brings that a system of how they've done it in Kansas City, of how to evaluate players. He's now bringing it to the Titans. And I think the question really becomes is, if they ever have a press conference is, what's the power structure? Who has the final say? What's, the communication between, now you're adding more people, right? From Chad now to Mike. Does Mike have people? And then obviously you have your head coach and Brian, right? So where do they all fall in the power structure? Who has the final say? And I think all that needs to get communicated, just so as fans, even as players or coaches, everyone in the staff, they understand the structure that's at hand. Because I think that's important to have transparency and accountability going forward.
When you kind of see moves like this, it's easy to say, all right, he's been with the Chiefs, so he's going to bring some of that here. I mean, and we saw that with, Robinson coming from the Patriots, even a little bit with Carthon coming from the 49ers, these organizations that have had success. So it's easy to get caught up in that. Do you look at it that way, or do you kind of look at it as, but he doesn't have Andy Reid. Now he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes. Now he doesn't have, some of these people that have been in Kansas City. So it's almost like it's a clean slate. How do you kind of go about looking at that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on, obviously he's been there for a long time. And so he understands the systems that were set up, that he's been a part of now and before that. And so obviously he's watched a ton of tape. You don't know exactly, was he the guy that brought in, Trey Smith or Nick Bolton or some of these, key starters, or how important was he with Patrick Mahomes, right? You don't know. But I think that's what's interesting of him coming here is, does he bring some of those guys with him? And then I think that's why it's important to communicate, hey, is it Chad that has the final say with players? Because if that's the case, then really, do we really know what Mike is doing, right? Or if Chad comes out and says, hey, I'm the president of football operations, I just want to make sure everything's running smoothly. We're going to have meetings together. I want everybody to be on the same page. Mike has the final say with personnel. He will be in contact with Brian, right? They will make decisions together on who they want to draft, who they want to bring in, but Mike has the final say, right? If none of that's communicated, then the question you just asked, we'll never know, right? Because we won't know who's really making these picks, who has the final say. And so then, we can't tell who's making this final decision, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Hey, Brett, when you were coming out of Toledo, were you scouted at all? Did a scout come visit you?
Heck no. I wasn't scout. I didn't go to the combine. I didn't have anything like that. I remember, this is actually kind of a funny story. Our pro day came around, and at Toledo, we had about 2 or 3 inches of snow that fell. And there was an assistant guy from the Colts that he came and he said, hey, I want to work you out. I said, wow, this is my first workout. It's 35 degrees outside. There's snow. So I went out there. I shoveled like a little patch where I could kick. And I told him where to stand, and I'll punt it to him. And, I thought I had a really good workout. And so after the workout, I said, hey, are you, assistant special teams coordinator? What's your role at the Colts? And he said, oh, I'm just I'm just starting out there as a pro scout. I've never worked out anybody before. And he's like, I actually really don't even know who the special teams coordinator is. So that was my workout that I had. And but I had a couple opportunities to go out and kind of have some workouts, not football related, to get some film to special teams coaches, and obviously ended up in Denver.
Well, that's the thing is, like, if you get drafted, I understand the workouts, but I mean, like for a scout, and this guy's supposed to be a really good scout, Borgonzi, a scout who finds these guys, and you're like that guy, Brett. I know you're our friend on the show, but you're like that guy, that diamond in the rough that you can find. So how important is it that you find you out there in the NFL world?
Yeah, I think that just depends on who he has working for him, right? I remember when I was in Denver, there was a guy named Champ Kelly who is with the Vegas Raiders right now, who was the interim GM, last year when all that stuff went down. And so, he was in Denver. He was, kind of the bottom lowest of the totem pole. And he went to the East-West Shrine game. He's the only guy I talked to the whole week at the Shrine game, talked to me, interviewed me, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, well, I know we need a punter, and I'm here to try to find a punter. And so, but that's the kind of guys that you need, guys that are going to be willing to do, they're going to travel to, North Dakota in the wintertime to work somebody out when you really don't want to go there. You'd rather go down to the University of Miami, stay on the beach, and, go work some guys out. Right. And so I think a lot depends on who Mike has underneath him, those scouts that know what he wants, the type of player he wants for the Titans organization, and are they willing to go to remote places, remote universities, to work these kids out, to go find them. So I think that's important for Mike of who he has underneath him to be able to do that stuff.
It's funny. Jalen Milroe going to the Senior Bowl, or to the Senior Bowl next week. He's not going to throw. And I'm thinking, that's like you going to the Senior Bowl. I'm not going to punt. I don't understand that. You went through all the rigmarole. If you're going to go out there, just show them what you could do, right?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I first of all, I don't think the punter or the kicker has any ability to, hey, I'm going to go to the Senior Bowl, I'm not going to punt.
Just hang out. Yeah.
I did do that when the 1 year I went to the Pro Bowl with, Coach Tomlin, but I also had a sports hernia and a torn ab muscle, and I literally couldn't punt. I still wanted to be at the Pro Bowl.
Right.
So he understood that, right? And it's the Pro Bowl, so who really cares? But to go to the Senior Bowl and not throw, I don't know. I guess that's what the combine's for. If you're not going to throw and you want all these interviews and stuff like that, because now you're taking away a spot from somebody that could go there and actually throw and compete.
We're talking to former Titans punter Brett Kern here on the Chasing Big Joe show. So we had two games yesterday in the divisional round that I know you would have loved to have kicked in, both in Buffalo last night and earlier the day in Philadelphia. You've kicked in Philadelphia before, punted in Philadelphia before. How tough is that? We were texting a little bit during the game. How tough is it for not only the kicker, but also the holder, which you obviously did?
Yeah, Braden did a great job last night, holding for Jake. That's tough conditions. I played in both. Obviously, growing up in Buffalo, that's just what it is up there. And then, playing in the snow, that Sunday night Green Bay game we had, snow, and played a couple games in high school and that kind of snow too. So, I think, last night, obviously, I was really curious with Buffalo because, they finished year number one in turnover margin at plus 24. And obviously they had 3 turnovers. And so, with that, that's a 91% chance to win when you're plus 3 in the turnover margin. And if you look at the teams that are still left, Commanders plus 6, Eagles plus 6, Bills plus 3, and Chiefs at 0, turnovers are huge. Obviously in the Detroit game, being minus 5 in the turnover margin, I mean, you're looking at a 1% chance of winning, and that's pretty much impossible with playoff football. So, the conditions were tough yesterday for those guys, but that's just playoff football. That is what it is, and I think you could see with all 4 of those games, the competition's so good that little mistakes are huge, right? For LA to give up a 44-yard run, 62-yarder, and a 78-yarder, those are some serious explosive plays and hard to overcome. And then I look at the Kansas City game, and everybody wants to talk about Mahomes and all that kind of stuff, and I think you have to understand at this point in the year, like you go to Arrowhead and that's one of the toughest places to play in general, let alone in the playoffs. It's cold. You're not going to get many calls to go your way. But I think the thing that bothered me was I'm obviously a special teams guy in the field position. For me, when it's 4th and 10 on the 40, you punt it, right? You don't go for that. That's a hard ask, 4th and 10 against a good defense, right? Because now if you pin them, your defense is playing well. They now have to drive the field, but instead you get the sack. Kansas City starts in their own territory. Thankfully, Kansas City still punted, but now you're starting, backed up on the 7-yard line. Whereas if you would have punted in the first place, you probably could have gotten the ball to midfieldish, right? But instead, now you're backed up. You can't do anything, and Townsend punts the ball, 34-yarder. Chiefs only have to do a couple plays, and you kick a field goal. And so for me, I think the field position in that game, instead of playing the field position game, I obviously that put you almost have to play perfect football when you're playing in Kansas City in the playoffs, and to not win the field position battle puts you way behind your chances to win in Kansas City.
How loud does Arrowhead get? You've punted and you've held kicks there. How loud does it get on that field down there? Because they say it's the loudest stadium in football.
Yeah, it is. To the point where, if you're standing next to somebody shoulder to shoulder, you can't even have a conversation with them.
Gosh.
So, that's it's loud, but it's awesome. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, just to see, I got goosebumps yesterday. They're singing the anthem and, do the home of the Chiefs, and you have the Chinooks, fly over. And I just, oh man, that's something there. If there's things you miss about football, to feel that, the hair on your arms and to just goosebumps go by. That's definitely something you miss, but it's an experience, and it's something that, I'll never forget.
Real quick, Chase and I brought this up earlier. This love, adoration for Mahomes from the NFL refs. I mean, I laughed at it, during the season, Brett, but when I saw the late hit they called him on Saturday after he dropped the ball and became a runner, they're going to have to make some sort of rule, I think, in the offseason to define what a runner is and was he a quarterback, because right now Mahomes is getting every single call.
I guess my thought is, like, if we can send somebody to space and they can live in space, why can't we review that? They review it in college, right? It's quick. You have the office in New York City, like, review it, right? If you look at the slow-mo, and even the one earlier where Will Anderson gets called and it looks like his helmet hits his shoulder pad, right?
Yes.
And they throw the flag. Why can't you? This is the playoffs. A 15-yard penalty might make or break a drive. It might make or break a game. Why can't we just review this? It's that simple. You got your little things in your ear, the earpieces. Just review it, and then let that be that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Former Titans. There you go.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
Former Titans punter.
I was also on the other side of maybe one of the worst holding calls in Super Bowl history. To go the Chiefs' way. So I'm not bitter or biased about it.
No, not at all. Hey, real quick before we let you go, Derrick Henry over 2,000 yards if you count regular and postseason. I think I heard last night, if you combining the two, 7th all time, something like that. Obviously an amazing year, his first year with the Ravens. He's feeling it today and upset, but I mean, it's one of those things that I think you look at that combination of Derrick and Lamar, it certainly worked, and I feel like it can work again next year.
Well, like I said, I mean, if the Ravens kind of don't shoot themselves in the foot and have 3 turnovers, kind of a sloppy football or sloppy fumble, interception, another Mark Andrews fumble,
it's a different story. Yeah.
If they don't turn the ball over 3 times, they might win by 14. And it's that it literally playoff football comes down to little things like that. And, they'll be back. So.
Yeah, 100%. Brett, always appreciate the time, and we're going to keep doing this even in the off season because there's a lot to talk about. So we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. We'll see you.
See ya. Brett Kern, former Titans punter, on the line by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chasing Big Joe on this Monday.
Favorite Dean Martin line. You're not drunk if you can lie on the floor without holding on.
That's a good one.
Just the best, man.
As we have some fun on this Martin Luther King Day, Inauguration Day, and the National Championship coming up tonight. It was a big weekend in sports here in Nashville as well. Both the Vanderbilt men's and women's basketball teams getting 1-point wins over Tennessee.
Yes.
I was there for the men's game on Saturday. Great atmosphere. A lot of fun.
Good.
JC Latham was there. Jelly Roll was there. That was cool.
Were you like, hi, Jelly?
No, I did not. I was sitting with Max Hers, so I just said hi to Max, talked to him for a
To
minute.
me, just as important.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then went to the Preds game, Keith Urban night. So that was cool. Keith and Nicole were there.
Right. Did you do at the Vandy games, you go into the press room where they have the media meal?
I did not. I was not with the media folk.
Oh,
I
okay.
Just
They
sat
used
up
to
in the stands.
Give you like one ticket. You get like a hot dog and a popcorn.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Let's go back to the phones. Brandon wants to weigh in on the NFL playoffs. Brandon, what's up?
Hello.
How's it going?
Just fine.
Echo.
Man, how was the playoff? And who won the last night's football game?
All right, we're not doing that today.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Chase, I was waiting for you like, hey, can you turn your radio down?
Yeah, I'm just
The old 1980, 90, 2000 sports talk. Always.
Brandon, turn your radio down.
Oh, what is
He just literally called in to get on the air to ask me who won the game.
No, he actually gave me a question of asking about the Ravens. It was a Ravens question. I was like, do you have a question for the playoffs? He goes, yeah, it's about the Ravens. I was like, okay. So I just put up there NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
Trying to be a good producer I am.
You did fine. No, it's not your fault. It's like reminds me when I worked at Channel 2, people would call in, hey, what's the pick 3 number? I missed it. I'd be like, yeah, it's 845. I always gave, because you can look it up.
That is my favorite thing when people will just call in like, hey, can you tell me the sound score?
Just look it up. I appreciate you putting the confidence in me, but it's easy to look it up. I imagine somebody's like, yeah, it's 937. They're like, oh my God. And they feel like they won. It's like, oh man, taught you a lesson. Do things for yourself, man.
I mean, people are just bored on a Monday. Was that him again?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well,
but
don't call back.
But we got to admit, you and I are distracted.
A little. I mean,
it's pretty cool watching the
is,
inauguration. Yeah.
I like watching everybody walk in and get introduced, and it's like, oh, that person's there, that person's there.
You know, it'd be great though, and you're a great wrestling fan. Have it in arena and like next up,
announcers.
No, next up it's Bill and Hillary Clinton. Have them run down like
making their way to the ring.
Have him run down the gangplank, whatever it is,
from Arkansas. The
Just
42nd? Was he the 42nd? Yeah. The 42nd president of the United States, Bill Clinton.
Oh, that'd be so great. Just have them take off. What a shot there from up top of the
rotunda.
Oh, man.
So the last time it was indoors was Reagan, right? One of his.
The 84 election season, January of 85.
So that was his second.
Correct.
Second term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I mean, it's like, are you going to stand outside?
Yeah, no, it's the right move.
I'm not. And everybody's like, oh,
you know what? What I felt bad about was I think it was the marching band. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Stewart's
Creek. And they didn't get to go. They went to Washington, but they didn't get to go to the inauguration. So I hate that.
Absolutely.
Because obviously there were others that were affected by that. But yeah, no, it is certainly cool to watch and kind of see it all unfold. Again, doesn't matter what side you're on.
No,
it's just it's history. Like I've watched them all probably the last 5 or 6. I've just kind of been glued to.
I told my son, watch this. It's just American pride. Just watch it. See how it goes. Is that Al Gore? Is Al Gore? There's that Al Gore?
Where?
Right there?
The balding one?
Yes. Looks like Al Gore.
It
right?
might be. Yeah, because I mean you do have former.
That's not him.
Yeah. I feel like he would have been introduced.
He looks like John Roberts. That is John Roberts, the Supreme
Oh,
Court.
Okay.
I'm not calling him the Supreme Leader, the Supreme Court. Chief Justice, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's your boy Newt Gingrich is
Yeah,
there.
there
Too.
is Newt
Listen,
Gingrich.
that's what play by.
So
Sorry,
okay,
y'all.
wait. So
Sorry.
I thought all the former VPs went too.
Well, Pence is there.
Pence is there, but I didn't see
Dan Quayle's not there.
no.
He was VP for Bush Senior.
I didn't see I'm blanking. Yeah, I don't think Al is there.
Pence is there.
Yeah.
Saw Pence walk in, but I would think they would.
This is what everybody wants to hear right now. Play by play of the
fascinating.
inauguration.
And we're looking and we're sitting there amazed at Barron Trump, who's like 7'4". He's like towering over everyone.
All right, so Dylan just texted in on something that I meant to bring up earlier. So you watched the Kansas City Houston game
Yes.
Saturday, right?
Yep.
Do you know the significance of the ending of that game?
You
and
will
how
explain to
big of
me.
a deal that is? I will explain because that was a pretty big deal for some people, including me. I will
Really?
Oh yeah. I will explain.
I like
Coming up
this.
next, it's Chasing Big Joe live on this Monday, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Hoping the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Nobody back. Ariza will head out of the back of the end zone for a safety.
Jason Big Joe 1025 1063 The Game here on this Monday. I thought you got your wish. I looked on the screen here and thought we had a ring announcer to bring in Trump.
Who is that guy singing?
He's singing "Oh America." Christopher D. Machio.
Machio, yeah, man. Dr. Crane, you know him?
I don't, Joe.
Okay.
No.
He's a
He's
fellow
like-
paisan, though.
He's like, we don't all know each other.
Oh man.
Y'all don't go to Sunday brunch or Sunday dinner, okay?
All right.
So on Saturday in divisional round, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Houston Texans 23-14. Now, Joe, could you use your McGavick math and tell us how many points that is?
Oh, that was 37.
Well, the difference between 23 and 14.
Oh, 9. Sorry.
9. Thank you.
Yes.
The line closed, at least on DraftKings and I believe FanDuel. The line closed at 9.5.
Okay.
So the hook, as they call it, the half, was very, very, very important. If you had Kansas City at 9.5, you're not in a good mood today. If you had Houston, you're feeling pretty good. In the closing seconds of the game, Kansas City had an 11-point lead, so they were covering. They elected to, on a fourth down, they lined up to punt, and as you heard in the clip there, they elected to take the safety to run the clock out, which changed the score to a 9-point difference. Thus, bettors that had Houston plus 9.5, like me, won the bet. And so there were a lot of Kansas City people that took that 9.5 that were pissed.
So
I was happy.
you're happy. But-
And Ricky even texted me right before and goes, man, I would love it if they just took the safety here. And sure enough, that's what they did.
So you're upset. All right. Cause I'm terrible at gambling. I apologize. So if you at that moment was 23-12, if you had money on the Chiefs, you were good
Yeah, until they took the safety.
till they took
And
the
then you were
safety.
not good.
Wow.
It's amazing that happened.
And then I guess people were like, what the hell? That
Yeah.
you call that a backdoor cover, correct? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I guess you would.
What was your reaction before? Like, oh, the game's gonna be over. Like, I'm out.
Yeah,
And-
basically. Yeah, I was like, oh, well.
And then he
Yeah.
goes out the end zone. Were you watching it live?
Yeah, I was at the arena.
You had to be losing your mind.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that felt that way.
What is it? And I could Google it, but the one game that almost broke Vegas, it's historic. So
I
one
don't know.
game that almost broke Vegas with the over, the under, the covers, and everything else. And it's iconic.
I don't think you can ever
it came
break
close.
Vegas, but
It's like the closest Vegas has ever come to losing almost everything.
yeah, I don't know.
I'll look it up. here in
Ricky
a minute
probably would know
to do
but-
all that. And, there was one where when I first heard about this was the Sugar Bowl, Miami and Alabama in 1989, or the Sugar Bowl right in there, where Alabama scored a touchdown in the last minute and covered, and people were furious because Bama scored the touchdown and covered the spread. So it's just the emotions of all that. I just thought you'd be losing your mind, man.
615-737-1025. Let's go back to the phones. Brian wants to weigh in on the Chiefs. Brian, what's up?
Hey, I got my radio turned down too, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Anyways, if I see one more Taylor Swift thing, I'm just going to shoot myself in the head. I mean, unfortunately, it's probably going to be Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to do a naked voodoo dance when they're playing, and maybe that'll work. I'm not sure because I hate it. I'm sorry, but I just hate it.
Yeah, well, it is oversaturated, and please don't do that, Brian.
Yes,
but
we need you.
thank you for calling in. But please don't bring harm to yourself by any means. But yeah, I mean, look, it is kind of what it is with Taylor Swift. Now Caitlin Clark's up there with her, and they're buddies, and kept showing. I mean,
I'm over.
you're
it
gonna
now.
see it. I mean, you can be over it, but you're gonna see it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Is it really taking away your value of watching the game? Me neither.
It's not.
No, not at all.
It's not. It just kind of is what it is. But so now we have I want to ask you too about Detroit. Dan Campbell, I mean, how is he going to be viewed if they've had these great teams, and this probably was their best chance, because I do wonder what Goff and that offense is going to look like without Ben Johnson, because he's going to be a head coach.
Yeah.
We're going to find out here in the next day or two what team he's selected, but he's going to be named the head coach of a team. And I kind of think that's going to change things there. I think they might have missed their opportunity.
Well, you might be losing is there any more openings left? Did Jacksonville have anybody?
No, Jacksonville hadn't.
So you might lose Aaron.
I mean,
Glenn?
they're still, I mean, Buffalo, or not Buffalo, Chicago,
the Jets,
Jacksonville, the Raiders, the Cowboys.
Right. Gosh,
I mean, there's a lot. I think the only one that's been filled was Patriots.
Yeah,
because we knew that 6 weeks ago.
That's it. We knew that a long time ago, right? No, and
Gerard Mayo didn't, but everybody else did.
Well, that's the thing. When Fisher lost Steckel after the '99 season, he got Heimerdinger. So I mean, you can strike gold going forward, but you got to strike gold, and that's the thing. And that game, but how much of it did Detroit lose? Did Washington win?
Yeah.
I mean, Washington, we talked earlier.
I think Washington just won that game. I mean, Washington outplayed them in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of the prime example of the bye week can hurt you.
Yeah.
I mean, being that, there's just something to that.
It is.
I think you saw that on Saturday. Look, Detroit had a tremendous season. They've had a tremendous couple seasons. Last year they did make it to the NFC title game. This year they did not. But kudos to Washington. I mean, they have a young quarterback that they all rally around. They have a coach that I don't think gets enough credit. That is a really good coach. So the better team on that particular day won.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you lose your OC, plug. I mean, I'm sure he's got somebody in mind, right? I mean, don't you have that 2 or 3 like in your back pocket if something goes on, or reach out to them and do all that? So I think they'll be fine. It happens. And I would love to have Detroit to get there, but it shows you how tough it is to actually get there and to win a game. And I think Washington just completely outplayed Detroit on Saturday night.
I think they're going to give Philadelphia a game. I mean, I think experience is going to matter. And so I give the edge to the Eagles on that. I think Chiefs Bills is going to be a toss up. I mean, it always is.
How bad? I mean, the Giants, like Saquon Barkley, basically walk.
Yep.
And now he's a game away from the Super Bowl.
I swear, I do not want to hear any Titans fan go, "Well, we let Derrick Henry walk."
It's going to happen. I hear it all the time.
I know.
I hear it all the time.
But
we're both
I know we're both like, what now?
I mean, if you're at home able to watch this and you listen to us, God bless you. But they're doing this perfectly. I mean, it's just, Chase, you're right. The pomp and circumstance of this is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Yeah. And again, we don't give a damn who you voted for, but it's just,
it's cool.
It's very cool.
I mean, President Biden just came in, got a standing ovation with the vice president, and that was cool. So
Vance tweeted out, JD Vance, the vice president-elect, of he's Ohio State grad.
Yeah.
Said, is it cool if I miss inauguration and watch my team win a national championship? And I was reading the Twitter replies like, you can't do that. It's required by law that you got to be in D.C. And he's just joking, folks.
Well, here's the thing. He gets sworn in first, right?
Correct.
So he could dip out.
Totally.
Just like, hey, I'm headed to Atlanta.
Totally take off and go. You're right.
That would be hilarious, actually. Like, he swears on the Bible and goes, hey,
I'm
Don,
out.
I gotta go.
I'll see you later on. Out the door.
Bring us a win. Good luck. He takes out.
That's not bad.
It's kind of like Mr. Burns and 615-737-1025. We're all over the place today, but it's kind of a fun day in which to do that. So, all right, we'll talk about this as the week goes on. I think Buffalo gets it done. I think Buffalo beats Kansas City. I think it's going to be Buffalo and Philadelphia.
Do you think they will, or do you want them to?
Both.
Okay.
Both. But I think they will.
I'm torn because I want to see a team actually go for a three-peat, which has never been done in the Super Bowl era, but also see Buffalo and that wonderful city finally get a Super Bowl.
The thing that I love, and I've gained so much respect for Josh Allen, watching him walk onto the field yesterday, and you just look at his eyes, and then even afterwards, after they won, it's like the look in his eyes is a very, very dangerous look. And that is a man that is determined. And when he walks into Arrowhead, he's going to have that same look of that I am not going to lose this game.
That's right. I mean, and Buffalo, their tight ends are like Kelsey. I mean, when they showed a wide shot of all the guys going their routes, 2 tight ends running, 2 receivers going out, and they're open. I mean, they're open too all the time. It's going to be a heck of a ball game Sunday night in Arrowhead, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just torn. And on the other side, I don't know, something about the Commanders and a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
going back to the state where he won a Heisman Trophy. Yes.
Yeah. I would love to look. I'd love to see Washington, but I think experience is going to matter.
You're right.
For sure.
Trump just walked in, and it's just into the inauguration, and very gracious. He's talking to Biden. I mean, it's all very gracious, and you put things aside, but this is really, why couldn't they do this in the hour from now while we're not doing a radio show?
I like Melania Trump's hat. That's a nice hat.
It's very cool, right?
Very stylish. We'll come back with what day is it? We've covered a couple, and also celebrity birthdays here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Monday. So obviously we're fascinated by the inauguration. There on Twitter, there's a video of John Fetterman walking into the inauguration. He's dressed like us, wearing gym shorts and a hoodie to the inauguration. He's a senator.
I thought you were kidding, and you showed me the video. I'm like, what in the world?
I sent it to Ricky in our group chat. I go, look, he dresses like you. That's amazing.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I love that. I kind of respect it.
Just like, that's how he is.
Yeah. Like, whatever. With that, are we ready?
Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
time?
yeah.
Let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen, a lot on the list here today. First, we have is Blue Monday. That is celebrated in the United Kingdom. It's for people that have, I guess, emotions that are at their lowest point in the year, but spirits are high here on the Chase Big Joe show. So continuing, we also have Camcorder Day. If you have a camcorder, maybe use it. I don't know. I'd use it wisely. Elementary School Teacher Day is today as well. Inauguration Day, obviously. And let's see, International Day of Acceptance. And absolutely for that. Celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day. National Butter Crunch Day. Interesting. Butter Crunch. Looks like one of those crunch bars, So let's see here. National Cheese Lovers Day.
I love cheese.
Asiago cheese is delicious. It's sharp, to the point, delicious. National.
I like you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You as well.
Thanks.
National Coffee Break Day. So go get a coffee. National Day of Service. National Disc Jockey Day. So
hey!
Shout out to DJs.
Shout out to David James.
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah, you're right. Good initials there.
Yeah.
Penguin Awareness Day is next. And Take a Walk Outdoor Day. Adam, you okay there, bud?
Penguin Awareness Day.
And Awareness Day. Okay.
I mean, they're adorable. I'm aware that they're adorable. I'd like to have one.
What would you name your penguin?
That's personal, Chase. Kong.
What's next?
The last one we have is Take a Walk Outdoors Day, which is probably what I need to do after hearing that.
Yep.
Not when it's 2 degrees. All right, time for celebrity birthdays. You got to get them.
Your ass out there in a second.
You got to. It's a penguin, man. I love penguins. All right, celebrity birthdays. Got to get them within 2 years. Our first celebrity birthday, Paul Stanley. How old is Paul Stanley?
Of Kiss?
No, of Antioch Baptist Church. Of course, of Kiss.
Well, why wouldn't you say Paul Stanley of Kiss?
Right.
77.
80.
73. The day Paul Stanley turns 80 will be just a weird day. All right. Bill Maher, comedian Bill Maher.
67.
65.
69.
Nice.
Actor Lorenzo Lamas, who was in Falcon Crest, also was in the movie Grease. How old is Lorenzo Lamas?
64.
70.
67. Guys right in the middle of that one. Rainn Wilson, Dwight Schrute. How old is Dwight Schrute?
56.
54.
59. Chase popping the outside, but not close enough. By the way, The Office went off the air in May of 2013.
It's crazy.
Going down some more here. Actress Stacey Dash. She was in the movie in the 90s with Alicia Silverstone.
Clueless?
Clueless. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. 51.
55.
58. God, you guys are so close today. Chase up 1-0 though. TV host Melissa Rivers, Jones' daughter.
Melissa Rivers, I would say 62.
65.
57. Woo! All right. Questlove from Jimmy Fallon Show.
52.
58.
54. Chase up 2-0. We'll get there. We got 4 more birthdays. We're good on this. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. John Michael Montgomery.
Oh. Life's a dance. You
It
learn as
is.
you go. John Michael Montgomery, I'm going to say is 62.
60.
60 exactly. Just like that, we're tied at 2. Singer Edwin McCain.
48.
50.
55. Country singer Brantley Gilbert.
37.
40.
40 exactly.
Dang.
Dr. Crane's up 4-2. All right, Ozzie Guillen, former baseball player.
62.
67.
61. 4-3. Dr. Crane. Ron Harper, former Chicago Bulls great.
64.
67.
61. Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon, I'm going to say 57.
54.
59. We're tied at 4. Mark Stepnoski, former Tennessee Oiler center. Cowboy center.
55.
58.
58 exactly. Dr. Crane's up 6-4. Former Orlando Magic guard Nick Anderson.
46.
47.
57. Next up, 6-4. Got 2 left. Jalen Rose.
50.
54.
It's a push. He's 52. Last one, Chase. You're still in striking distance. Dr. Crane's up 6-4. Nick Foles.
45.
39.
36.
Dang.
Dr. Crane wins on Inauguration Day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very
Good job.
much.
Well done, Dr. Crane.
That is going to do it for us on this fine Monday.
Yes, as we close every show out, to our guys out there, know that we love you, tremendously love you. And if you're going through something on your cell phone, you can dial 988 or text 988. Somebody is always there to talk to you. You always have somebody to talk to. We're here for you all the time. We love talking to you in 24. We love to talk to you in 25. If you're going through anything, please reach out to us. Please know that we love you. And more importantly, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm. DVD coming up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Good job.